Dead Island 2 took advice from a diversity council in order to avoid hurtful stereotypes in their upcoming game. Because as we all know, in the event of a zombie apocalypse, the number one focus needs to be diversity, representation, and inclusion. That will definitely be the prominent point of any zombie apocalypse. It's not survival. No. It's not to, make sure we have enough food and water and we need to protect the young. No. None of that. None of that really matters. Diversity, inclusion, and representation. That is the focus of every zombie apocalypse. Do you remember why you watched The Walking Dead when it first started? Remember those first few years? Fantastic television for the first at least 2 to 3 seasons. Maybe not the third season. Either way. The first few seasons were fantastic, fascinating, phenomenal. Do you remember how much you were drawn into the diversity quota of that show? Do you remember how inclusion and representation were just so powerful? No, that's right, they weren't, because no one cares. No one cares. But of course, this is a major red flag for any studio, any developer, for anyone to bring up a diversity council and take their opinions seriously. The only thing you should do to a diversity council is meme the living hell out of them. But here we are over on Bounding into Comics, and here it is. Developer Dan Buster Studios reveals Dead Island 2 was created with their diversity council and offering advice to avoid hurtful stereotypes. Good God. The Loadout interviewed Dan Buster Studios art director Adam Olson, who explained that while there will be stereotypical characters, bodybuilder zombies hanging around a beach, for example, the lampooning of Los Angeles was done after speaking to the company's diversity council. It was a really interesting exercise trying to break down what makes something LA and what stands out as a truly unique LA experience. We were very cautious to take anything that would feel like a hurtful stereotype, and that's why in the studio we have a diversity council that helps us understand whether we've pushed something too far. Holy shit, man. This is not a meme. Like any company that unironically has a diversity council. So like if you could troll with one, like how on Friday Night Tights, we say that Ryan Kennel is our chief diversity inclusion officer. Yeah, it's a meme. It's funny. But to unironically to do that without memeing, it's the most cringe thing humanly possible. Said diversity council was formed several years prior in an attempt to not just improve diversity in the games they produce, but to offer informed opinions on a game's development. How the hell does a diversity council give you any information on a game's development? Regarding cast and overall tone, Olsen reportedly said the council had been critical developing Dead Island 2's tone. Well, that's going to be fascinating to witness. The council has worked very closely with us to make sure we're pushing out a good tone because we want to make sure that we bring Dead Island 2 into the 21st century. Olsen declared, unintentionally echoing other studios' comments on developing games for modern audiences. We want to be contemporary and we want to be representative. Well, my God, you're just going to be a meme. Dan Buster's council may sound similar to Square Enix's own ethics department. However, the latter has been described as the developers as actually a group within the company that evaluates game content to make sure it's aligned with the anticipated age rating standards across the globe. While we have seen Western developers aim for more diversity in video games for over a decade, Dan Buster's Diversity Council may be the first case of there being a direct department issuing requests to developers rather than developers themselves or executives aiming for diversity in all aspects of the company, namely staff and charitable endeavors. So right here, they talk about the Saints Row reboot, and that's obviously been covered by many other channels. And ultimately, this is just, man, another disastrous video game property being ruined by identity politics and social justice pandering. Again, as I stated earlier, a diversity council is good for one thing and one thing only: to be memed, to be laughed at. But ultimately, this is a red flag for any real gamers out there. Now, I didn't play Dead Island. I was interested in that, and I do genuinely like zombie games. I obviously love like your old school Resident Evils, your Left 4 Deads. Resident Evil is one of my favorite gaming franchises of all time. 4 still being the best in my opinion, but I didn't play all of them after 5 because I kind of got turned off with 5, even though I think that the action-esque direction they went was fine. It just didn't work for me. I like the more horror centric style of the earlier Resident Evil games. But I did play Village, and that one did kind of seem to pull it back into the horror element. But ultimately, we'll see how this plays out with Dead Island 2, and if you're interested in more gaming, we have Geeks Gamers Play, where we have a lot of gaming news over there. We also stream a lot of video games, and trust me, there's a lot out right now that we're going to be covering. I'm loving the Modern Warfare 2 beta. The Modern Warfare 2 beta is fantastic. I love the third-person view that the perspective they brought back from old school MW2. The gunplay is good. Mechanics are good. Maps are fine. They're nothing mind-blowing, the few maps that we have the availability on, but I'm really enjoying it. Invasion, the new mode that they added, is awesome. So we're going to be playing a lot of that along with all the other games we play. So check us out on Geeks and Gamers Play. You guys have a great day. Thank you very much for checking out this video, and we will talk to you later.